Okay, hi guys. So this is a continuation of our 4 representations packet. In the other video, I went over scenarios 1 and 2, but then just to make sure my video recording was going okay, I stopped it there. So, excuse me. Um, so let's start with scenario 3. So in this one, I'm given the equation, but that is it. So I have to use this equation to create a table, a story, and a graph. So first, let's just kind of break apart this equation. So this 5 right here, actually, let's start with this -7. So this -7 tells me that my y-intercept, or my starting point, is -7. So if I go over to my graph, or I'm sorry, my table, when x is 0, that's my starting point. So I know I'm starting at -7. Okay? And this 5 right here tells me my growth. Okay? So this tells me that every time the x's are counting up by 1, I am growing, or sorry, my y is growing by 5. So if at 0, it's -7, I have to add 5 if I'm going up 1. Okay? So -7 plus 5 would make it -2. Okay, now next we're going from 1 to 2, so I'm still just counting up 5, which means I would be at +3. Please excuse the hoodlums in the hallway acting crazy. All right, but now we have to be careful because I'm jumping from 2 to 10 on my x. All right, so now we're going to have to do a little bit of substituting using my equation. So I want to know what y is when x is 10. Okay, so I'm going to use my equation, but I'm going to put 10 in for x. So I have y equals 5 times 10 minus 7. 5 times 10 is 50, minus 7 gives me 43. All right, and now I can just substitute with 12, or I can know that if I'm counting up by 2, and each time I'm going up by 1, I'm counting 5, then going up by 2 would mean I'm going up by 10. Okay, so that means that this one, if I'm going up by 10, would be 53. All right, and then this last one here, we got to be careful because I know the y value, but I don't know my x value. Okay, so I'm going to have to substitute this 101 in for y in my equation. So it will be 101 equals 5x minus 7. All right, and now it's just solving an equation. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides, and I'll get 108 on the left. On the right, the 7s will cancel out, and I just have 5x over here. All right, my last step is to divide both sides by 5, and I'll get x equals 21.6, I believe. If I'm wrong on that, sorry, I'm doing it off memory instead of calculator. But whatever 108 divided by 5 is what x is when y is 101. All right, next, let's create a story. So creating a story, this can really be anything, but I need to think about this. So my starting point has to be at -7, and I have to grow by 5. So one easy thing we can do is my bank account has -$7. Starting tomorrow, I will get $5 each day. Okay, so I'm starting at -$7 and I'm going up $5 each day. So that means X would be days and Y would be my money, my account balance. All right, now we just need to do the graph. So again, I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which in this case is -7. Okay, so I'm going to count down. There's 3, 6, 7. So I know my line is going through the y-axis at that point. So I know where it is when it's crossing the y-axis. It's right there. Then I'm going to go up 5. So as I count up a day, so now it's been 1 day because X are my days. So here's 0 days and I have negative $7. Then at 1 day, I'm going to be up $5, which means I'm at negative 2. Now I've got my 2 points, and I can go ahead and create my line. Okay, I'm filling up the whole grid, and I'm putting arrows on both sides, and there is your third representation. All right, moving on to our fourth one. Okay, so this one, I don't have anything except for my graph. But if we think about what we've been talking about so far, there's actually a lot of information that I can tell from a graph. Okay, so remember when I'm graphing an equation like I did on this last one, I'm always starting with that y-intercept. Okay, and then I can look at what my growth is. So if I'm looking at this graph, remember my y-intercept is wherever this line crosses my y-axis. So I know that this line crosses right here at the origin, which means that my y-intercept is actually 0. All right, and then I need to look at my growth. So as I'm going up 1 on my x-axis, as I'm going forward 1 on my x-axis, I'm going up 3, which means that my growth is 3. Oh, I know somebody's going to make fun of me or throw a fit about not having 2 equal signs. So there you go. Now they're even. Growth is equal to 3. So now I can write my equation in the form y equals mx plus b using my y-intercept as b and my growth as m. All right, so it would be y equals 3x plus 0. But we don't actually have to write plus 0 because that doesn't change anything. So our equation will be y equals 3x. And that's our equation for this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our story problem. So in this one, I'm saying I'm starting at 0 and I'm going up by 3. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that we could come up with for this one. It could be gaining points in a game every minute or something like that. It could be back to our bank account thing. It could say I'm starting at 0 and I'm gaining $3 every day. It could be that you read 3 pages every hour or something like that. Like starting, so I started a book. And am reading 3 pages an hour. Okay, so that means that X is our number of hours and Y would be our number of pages. Okay, so at 0 hours, obviously we have read 0 pages. And that lines up because my y-intercept is 0. So that means that when x is 0, y also has to be 0. And now I'm going up 3 pages every hour. So from here to here, I'm going to be going up 3. And again, from 1 to 2, so that means that is 6. My bad. Okay, I'm counting up 3. Okay, next, I know what my y is, but I don't know what my x is. So I need to substitute these values in for y in my equation. So for this first one, I have 12 equals 3x. Now, this should be pretty simple for you because all we have to do is divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals 4. Okay, next we'll do it with 30. So we have 30 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3 again, and we get x equals 10. All right, and that is the, what is that, 4 now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is the fourth scenario. Done. So now let's go ahead and get started on the fifth one. So this is scenario C. Okay, now this one, it's also a little bit different because it says he walks 3 blocks every 5 minutes. All right, and this is something that we're actually going to be getting into a little bit more starting in our next workbook. But really what this means is just that we have a fraction growth. All right, so let's start with our table here. Okay, so I know that I'm starting with 20 blocks. Or actually, I guess, would we start with 0? All right, so let's say that he starts at 0, right? He hasn't gone. Actually, let's say he's 20 blocks away from home. So at the very starting point, he's 20 blocks away. Okay, I know that every 5 minutes, he's walking another 3 blocks. Okay, so I know you know what? Let's just skip this one because I don't understand it. So let's skip that one. If you did it already, then good job. I'm proud of you. But we're going to skip this one because I don't like it and it's confusing. So skipping. Okay. All right, so we're going to go over to this one that's talking about Olivia and her English paper. So she starts with 40 words. So that's a big hint right there. And types 20 words per minute. Okay, so that means that X is our minutes. Oh, it's already right there. Okay, and Y is our words. So I know that I'm starting with 40 words. So 0 minutes should have 40 words. And then 20 words per minute. Okay, so if she types for 2 minutes, that means she's typing twice as many words. So then she's going to go up 40. So now she has 80 words. Okay, but now what about when X is 5? So to make this a little bit easier for ourselves, we need an equation. Okay, so remember the two things I need are my growth and my starting point or my y-intercept. So if I read this information carefully, I know that I am starting, or that she is starting with 40 words, and that it's growing 20 words per minute. Now I can do my y equals mx plus b with my growth as m and my y-intercept as b to get y equals 20x plus 40. All right, now I can use this equation to help me figure out some of these ones. So if it has been 5 minutes, and minutes is x, then I'm going to substitute this 5 in for the x here in my equation. So y equals 20 times 5 plus 40. And I know 20 times 5 is 100, so plus 40 gives me 140. Okay, now I need to do the same thing with 9. Y equals 20 times 5. Oh, wait, 9 this time, sorry. 20 times 9 plus 40. So 20 times 9 is 180 plus 40 gives me 220. All right, now I need to do it backwards because now I know what y is, but I don't know what x is. So I'm going to take the same equation, but now I'm going to substitute these numbers in for y. So I have 450 equals 20x plus 40. I've got the x's all on one side, but I want to get rid of this plus 40. So I'll subtract 40 from each side. So I get 410 equals 20x. If I divide both sides by 20, then I get 2 point something. Hold up. 410 divided by 20 gives me 20.5. Okay, so 20.5 minutes in, she has 450 words. All right, and then let's do the same thing with 850. So I have 850 equals 20x plus 40. I'll subtract 40 from each side. So I have 810 equals 20x. When I divide both sides by 20, I get 40.5. That makes sense. Okay, so 40.5 minutes after she starts, she has 850 words. Okay, so now I need to graph this. And first I got to think about my scaling here because I know I have to start at 40 and I'm going up by 20 each time. Okay, so counting by ones is not going to do the trick here, nor is counting by twos this time. So instead, I think I'm going to count by tens. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Okay, so looking at my equation, I know that my y-intercept is at 40. So on my y-axis, I'll put my dot at 40. And then I'm going up by 20 every minute. So as I go forward 1 minute, I'm going up 20. So I'm going from 40 to 60. That's where I put my second point. And now I have enough to be able to create my line. All right, and that is scenario 6. I think we just have 2 more, right? Okay, this one is also one that's one of those fractional ones, so I'm actually going to skip this one. Again, if you did it, great, but we're going to talk more about this in the next unit, so I don't really want to go over it right now. Okay, so our last one on the very back has just a scenario. So the temperature at dawn was negative 10 degrees. The air warmed 2 degrees per hour. So now we got to be careful because the temperature is not dropping now, it's warming, so it's going up. But I know that my starting point, so when x is 0, is going to be negative 10. Then every hour, it's warming 2 degrees. So 1 hour later, remember x is hours, y is temperature. Okay, so 1 hour later, it's warmed 2 degrees, which means now it's only negative 8 degrees. Only. Okay, another hour goes by, and now it's negative 6 degrees. Another hour makes it negative 4. Another hour makes it negative 2. And then finally, 5 hours later, we have finally hit a temperature of 0. Yay, that sounds wonderful. Okay, so if you do different values in the table, that's fine. That's why this is empty. You can do any kind of table that you want, or any kind of x values, I should say. All right, now let's write our equation. So again, it's y equals mx plus b, where m is my growth and b is my y-intercept. Okay, so my growth, I'm going up 2 degrees per hour. My y-intercept, my starting point, is at negative 10. Okay, so my equation is going to be y equals 2x minus 10. Then going over to my graph, first thing I'm going to do is that y-intercept. So I'm going to put a point at negative 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then every hour, I'm going up 2 degrees. So there's my second point. Now I can just create a line, add my arrows, and we're done. And that was our final representation or final scenario. So this concludes our video for the 4 representation packets. Remember, I skipped this one, scenario C, and I also skipped scenario D. Okay, if you skip those, that is totally fine.